What's up, RVP Nation? It's Sawyer, and I'm here with.
Pamela.
Carlos.
Sherry.
And could you tell us more about the NAMI? What should I say? What is it? The NAMI
Organization.
NAMI organization. Could you tell us more about the NAMI organization?
Certainly. NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And we are a nonprofit that works to help eliminate the stigma around mental illness and also to provide services and support to people who live with mental illness or mental health concerns. We are a nationwide organization, but we have, I guess you can call it chapters, we're affiliates.
Affiliates, yep.
And we are the one in Racine County.
Yep.
So what does that entail? What would you say your day-to-day is running that?
Well, I don't run it, but we're wrong with it. So I work on communications and advocacy. So it's two roles that sort of get together. And what we do, among other things, is to try to bring issues to legislators about, people's needs on mental health. We try to help somehow with local leaders improve mental health services from teenagers to adults. And we also provide support groups, and we provide other services, and that's where the talent of Sherry comes in.
Yeah, so...
So I'm the outreach coordinator at NAMI Racine County, and I go out into the community. Like Carlos says, I'm the talent of the agency. I get out there and I go to the resource fairs, and I do presentations. One of the presentations I do is in the high schools here in Racine County, and it involves telling kids about the signs and symptoms of mental illness and signs and symptoms of suicide prevention, and how to help themselves or someone else if they know they're in danger, which I think is so vital. Because I think early intervention is key. And I myself, my diagnosis is bipolar 2 disorder, and I believe that I would be where I am now, would have been where I am now a lot sooner had I had that early intervention. So that's one of my passions, is getting out into the schools and getting to kids like you early and saying, hey, it's okay. Like, the things you're going through, the struggles you're going through are normal. But if you see something or you realize something that's going on in your head where you're like, hey, maybe you need to talk to somebody about that, it's totally okay to do that. And the earlier you do that, the better. Because the more help you can get for that, the greater chance you're going to have to be successful.
Yeah, if you keep in mind, mental health issues develop usually during the teenage years. Mm-hmm. So most teenagers don't know who to talk to or what to do about it. Even their parents sometimes don't know. So the more intervention you can have, the better your life is going to be in the long term. The less issues you might face in your life. You can be, completely successful with living with a mental illness. Mm-hmm. And there is one thing that I believe that we don't keep in mind, is that even if you're living with a mental illness, you can be mentally healthy. So mentally healthy is a need for everybody, mm-hmm. right? So there are ways and there are resources for people who we all have a mental health concern in any time in our life. So, but people who live with short span mental health concerns or long life term need everybody's support, because statistics say that we have, 1 in 4 since the pandemic. 1 in 5 people live with a mental illness, mm-hmm. but 5 in 5 are affected by it, because if I live with a mental illness, my family, my friends, they all are affected by it.
Right.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, that's awesome that you guys are there for those people.
Yeah. And at NAMI, we provide, like Carlos was saying, advocacy, education, support, resources for those living with mental illness and their loved ones and their friends and families, all of those affected by mental illness. So we do all of that. We do it at no cost, which so that comes into play when we're saying that we're a nonprofit. So that means that
Right.
we are funded by donations and things like that, grants. But I think it's really important that to take note that we are a nonprofit, that
Right.
and that we can fund or that we can offer those services for free, because a lot of times that's a barrier for people. When you're like, oh, my insurance doesn't cover that. I can't go see a doctor, I can't go see a therapist because I can't afford it. Well, we offer free support groups, so you can come and do that. It's not a therapist, it's not a doctor, but it's a support group, and there are people there who understand you because we've all been through similar experiences. And then if you can't get in to see a doctor right away, which there are a long waiting lists to get in to see a therapist or a doctor, it bridges that gap until you can get in there.
Yeah, you have somebody to talk to, somebody who understands how you're feeling, somebody who might have gone through a crisis and is on the other side and can help you plan or recover. So,
Give you hope.
and give you hope, which is very, very important.
That's amazing. What led you guys down this path to where you are today?
Well, it's a little secret that everybody who works at NAMI is somehow related to either lives with a mental illness or is related to somebody who lives with mental illness. And in my case, I have family members who live with mental illness. And for me, it was in particular because I have seen some of them throughout the years, and how hard it is when you don't have any support. And I didn't have the tools or the knowledge to help them. So I saw in NAMI the opportunity to learn, and trust me, it's been helpful. It's been very helpful. I mean, it's just because now I have a different vision of what it is, and where to go, what to do. So I see it as a learning experience. For me, is more than anything else a learning experience. But it's also, and I had to say this not because you're here, but because you're here. I had to say, to me, it's inspiring. Again, we have this idea about people who live with mental illness, like somehow there's something, they're broken, and it's not true. Somebody who lives with a mental illness can be successful, and so I see my coworkers not only being successful but awesome, right? So to me, it's inspiring. I really I said it before. It's just I've done many jobs throughout my life, but this probably is one of the most fulfilling for me, because it gives me not only a mission to do for something that I think is needed, but also it's really inspirational. It's really inspirational to see the efforts of the people that I work with and the people that we deal with to try to help others. So this is my story. This is why I do it. Sherry does it because I'm still working with her.
Yeah,
and I'm fun.
I solely do it just because so I can see Carlos every day.
That's amazing.
No, that is not why. For me, in my job interview, I said that I've been training for this my whole life. I've always been really outgoing, and I've been an organizer and a party planner, and I've enjoyed doing that. And I have a mental illness, so I've always been interested in learning more and sharing what I know with other people and learning from other people what they know. And so when I saw this position open up, I was just like, yes, this is what I am meant to be doing. Like, this is a passion for me to go out there and be like, there is hope and you can be successful. Like I said, my diagnosis is bipolar 2, but I have been mentally healthy and stable for 10 years. That's amazing. It was a struggle for so long to find the right treatment plan, the right combination of medications, and the right doctor and the right therapist. But once I got there, it was just like, yeah, this is what life is supposed to be. And I want to show that to other people. I want other people to have that hope. And especially like with kids, I want people to see that. I want kids to see that. That just because you hit that bump in the road doesn't mean that you can't get past it and reach every goal you want to reach. I mean, the only one that I really haven't been able to reach is doing a cartwheel, and I feel like that has literally nothing to do with my mental illness. I mean, looking at me, you could probably tell, like, that probably doesn't have anything to do with my bipolar 2 disorder. But other than that, I've been able to do whatever I want to in life, and so for me, that's why I do what I do.
Well, that's amazing that you use it like as motivation and use it in a bettering way rather than.
Again, I've done a lot of different jobs throughout my life, and it's not every day that you find a job that really inspires you to be there. And trust me, it can be stressful.
I bet.
It has been stressful.
I bet.
But it's so amazing to see the results of the work that we do. And it doesn't really, it's not just us. We have a group of volunteers who lead the support groups, teach classes, who also live with mental illnesses or have family members who live with them, and they use their experience to help others. So staff-wise, we are a small group, but in reality, as an organization, we grow every day more because of the people that we're able to serve, and the people that our friends, our supporters, are the members of the participants in our groups. It's an invisible line of amazing people doing amazing things for everyday people.
Our volunteers are amazing people. They're very dedicated and always willing to, like if I send out an email and say, hey, I need somebody to help out at this event or whatever, I always have responses right away. I can help with this. And it's just like, really? You're willing to give out your Saturday or your evening or whatever, and dedicated people to help facilitate support groups and things like that.
So if you guys want to volunteer,
Yes, please.
You know where we are.
I always need a side note.
Is there like a sign up
Segue.
thing?
Yeah.
Because we can plug it 100%
Yeah,
for
if you have a
everybody else.
website.
Oh,
watching it,
yes,
too.
absolutely.
Just-
If you're interested in volunteering, is this my camera?
Yeah, you can do that one.
Hi, guys. If you're interested in volunteering for NAMI, we can always use volunteers for outreach events. We're looking for peer support group facilitators. We are looking for teen group facilitators. Well, not facilitators, really, leaders more. Any type of. If you are willing to volunteer, I am going to put you to work. So you can contact me. My name is Sherry, Sheri, at 262-637-62. Nope, that's not right. 262-637-6200. Or Hess or Shess at NAMIRacine.org.
Now, you
See,
what
that's
she
not
said.
my first time.
So you mentioned those. You mentioned those roles. What do those? If you don't mind, it might take a second to explain it. But what do some of those roles entail?
Support group facilitators, they are committed to, our support groups are like first and third Thursday of the month. They vary. We're currently looking for a support group leader to you have to have lived experience with a mental illness, and you have to be in a stable place in your recovery. So, you can't be, just fresh out of the hospital or things like that, because we want you to be able to be in a good place in your mental state. I mean, you have to take care of yourself too. You have to have your pitcher full before you can pour out a glass, So we're always looking for support group facilitators, and then outreach events, those are the fun things. You have to listen to my somewhat entertaining, what is it called?
It's a
Webinar.
Yeah.
My webinar. It's entertaining. I can't stay
She can
professional.
be very hardcore when she's training people.
Yeah, so hardcore. I can't stay
It's a
professional
little scary. I gotta
to save my life. You just watch this brief 24-minute webinar on how to represent NAMI, and then as soon as you're comfortable going out into the community, you go to places like Party on the Pavement and do like sit at a resource table and just give information about NAMI. We have a gig coming up where you can go to the Racine Theater Guild and sit at one of our tables, and then you get to go to the show for free. Different events like that. They're usually really pretty fun events to go to and sit, like Racine County Fair, and then if you would do that, then you get to go to the fair for free. So pretty decent events, you know. Some things are just like if you want to come in and do paperwork, you know, you can do that. Like if you're not a get out there and meet people kind of person. So if you want to volunteer, we'll find a place for you to.
So you heard that, folks.
Yeah.
If you need to volunteer, you got some free time, go help out NAMI for sure.
Yes. And we do have a teen talk group starting, or we already started in Burlington. They reached out to us, the Burlington Public Library, and they had a group of kids that were meeting out there anyway and called us in for assistance. So we meet the third Thursday of the month from 3 to 4. So please come out and meet us out there. But we would love to, this is where you guys come in, love to start a teen talk group here in the City of Racine. So we're hoping to do that come this school year, the beginning of this school year. So again, anybody interested in that, reach out to me. I would love your help in starting a support group, or not necessarily a support group, a group where teens can get together and talk. I will stay out of your business. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I just want to provide that safe space for you.
That's awesome. I hear you guys have a podcast. Could you guys? Could
Here.
you tell us
I'm
a
going
little
to
bit
sit
about
back
that?
and let the professionals talk now.
So we have a podcast called Compassionate Conversations. The idea behind the name is actually because the work that we do is to create a more compassionate society, and so our podcast is about mental health, mental illness. So all the items of the pod, each episode has something to do with how to better manage mental illness, how to eliminate the stigma on mental illness, or mental health. Because as I say, you could be living with a mental illness but be mentally healthy, and you could be mentally healthy and all of a sudden develop into a mental issue, mental concern. So that's the idea behind the podcast. And really, we try to make it, short episodes so that you can listen. Well, I don't know if you drive, but I drive 20 minutes to the office, so I usually use that time to listen to podcasts on the radio. And so, and to keep it in a type of conversation that is, it can be fun, but it's about issues that we all have concerns about. And actually, because September is suicide prevention, we are going to be talking about depression and how to avoid or how to reach out to people who might have suicidal thoughts, and that's the subject for this month.
And how have you liked doing the podcast? Like, has the success, has the reach been well, or
we have been growing. We have 7 episodes so far. We have been growing slowly because these things
everything
slowly.
Takes time.
It does take time, but it has been a great experience. I do have some previous experience, but I don't know if you noticed, I'm from the south, not from the country, but south of the continent. I'm from Venezuela, so that's where I have the southern accent. So for me, this was a challenge because we don't do video; we only do the audio.
Audio, yeah.
And so I have done podcasts in Spanish before, but never in English. And so to me, that was the most challenging part. It is a learning experience. but more than that, and the learning experience, because it makes me get out of my comfort zone and try something that I didn't do before. But more than that is learning from the people that I get to talk to, because they are very interesting people. Sherry was in our first episode, so was our executive director, her daughter in another episode. So there are people who either have had experience or have knowledge on what it on how it is to live with.
And where can we hear this podcast at?
So we are available on Spotify. We are available in Apple Podcasts. We are available 7 platforms. I started uploading to YouTube just as an audio. So just look up Compassionate Conversations and you will find us easily. Or NAMI Racine County.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, you're killing it, man, and your English is great. I mean,
thank you. I'll be practicing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, that's all the questions I have for you guys. I don't know. Man,
I have one. Do you ever think of like doing an episode in Spanish? Because we have like a large like Latino community here, and I feel like mental illnesses is a little bit like a taboo topic almost.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be nice if you could like do an episode in Spanish, because I know some podcasts do like every 5th episode is a Spanish episode or something like that. Because I know, I feel it would be nice for to recommend to some family members who might be struggling a little bit.
I love that idea. I feel much more comfortable.
Yeah.
Actually, we can talk about that, because we could record with you guys an episode in Spanish. How is your Spanish these days?
No, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Just surface level.
So, because it would be interesting, we did an episode on stigma, or the stigma of mental illness in minority communities, and there is certainly, it's not an easy issue. It has a lot to do with that idea of everything stays at home. But I think it's necessary to put it out there and that people know what to do, because one of the problems with the stigma is that people are afraid to ask for help.
Or embarrassed.
Yeah, because they feel that they have a target in their chest now, and that is dangerous. That is dangerous, because it puts you in a position where, what do you do if you don't have any help? So I love the idea. I think we're going to have to do that.
All right. Well, that's all the questions we have. Do you guys have any questions about us or what we do? Yeah, not to put you on the spot. You don't have to. But
well, I'm glad that you brought it up, because I got a couple of questions.
Oh, okay.
No,
Perfect.
So again, we're about to start school. Yeah.
Are you so excited?
Right?
I'm excited, but I'm not.
I don't know. It's our senior year. So,
Senior year, yeah.
So we're closing it out. I don't know.
Nice.
I feel like it's kind of almost like bittersweet. I feel like I don't know. It's bittersweet. I'm excited, but I'm also like, oh gosh, this is my last year of high school and off to college. And
Do you guys know what you're going to be pursuing after high school?
So I'm studying for engineering.
Okay.
So I'm trying to go to I'm planning to go to a technical school, maybe MSOE, or I know Carthage just got a new engineering program last year.
Nice.
I think so. But a school like that.
Very nice. Okay. How about you?
I want to go to any school in the Midwest that has some prestige for media. I really want to learn more about just content creating and media production. I think it's super cool.
So you're going to remember us when you're remember
when you're
the little
famous.
people when you're
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do a conjoined podcast. We
There
can
you
collab.
go. There you go.
All right.
So and that's one thing that I love what you guys do here, but maybe for those who are listening to Compassionate Conversations and don't know what you guys do, can you kind of tell us a little bit of the experience of the Racine video production? What is it like, and how does it work? How do you guys get involved in here?
Well, how do we get involved? I would say I started at the start of the summer. I knew that I was going to be doing something. I knew we were going to work with the police department a lot. I know that was a big thing because we're supposed to make 25 videos with the police department. Kind of being like a community voice, questions that the community members have for the police. And so I knew that was a big deal of that, is running the podcast for that and making videos for that. But then actually being in the internship and in the program, it's really fun being able to go out and make videos for local business owners and people in the community, and just being like a voice for somebody or shedding light on somebody's business or program, and just learning, people in the community. It's really amazing.
And I had to say, I follow you guys on Facebook and YouTube, and I've seen the videos. I have to admit that like every video is better than the other one. So whatever it is that you guys are learning with this program is working. I was talking to somebody precisely about this recording, and I say, it is incredible to see what these kids are putting together, because you guys are the next generation of professionals. So what what you guys are doing is amazing, and I don't live in Racine, so for me it's very informational. Like, I know what's going on in Racine through you guys, so that is pretty cool.
That's
really,
awesome.
And
That's
really,
amazing.
really like to see you guys doing that. Now, let me ask you a question. So, again, we're excited about school. I know it's senior year. Now, how do you ever feel stressed out? Do you ever feel like fear somehow of coming back to another year, or it's just you're just pretty chill? Okay, we're going back to another year.
I mean, I guess I'm nervous for because this is our final year, so it's like, our finals, like we're doing the finals again, and we're doing like major testings. So it's just like nerve-wracking, but I'm also excited because like I'm in a lot of clubs, and like my club, I'm a part of LSU, Latino Student Union, and like we're planning to do a lot more community-based stuff, and like not more stuff in general, but for like Latinos or students in case. I mean, it's for anybody, but like we're just trying to do a lot more to learn and like spread our culture.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I like that.
Awesome.
Oh, you.
It's definitely a nerve-wracking feeling, because, I mean, I don't know, I guess the more you get into it, I guess, as a senior, compared to being like a freshman, it being your first year to being your last year in the building and everything, already kind of knowing your way around. But it's definitely nerve-wracking, and they're just with like the pressures of school, like, and the pressures you put on yourself. I mean, I know that I feel like obligated to get good grades. I kind of had not the greatest sophomore year, and so I'm really trying to bring my GPA up, and so I feel pressures of like I really need to keep keep on track, stay focused, and so that's definitely nerve-wracking, having to know that I'm gonna have to push myself. But I mean, I like the structure, and I'm excited to go back. I'm excited to see my friends. I'm excited to talk to people, learn new stuff, but there's definitely some nerves that come with it, for sure.
Well, and that's actually my next question, because how do you handle that? I mean, like, school can be stressful for different reasons. The relationships, the situations, the demands of education. So how do you keep yourself stable throughout the school year and throughout those demands?
Well, I think your program is great with what you guys do. I think I'd say the number one thing is, I mean, we're social beings. I think just talking to other people, being able to talk about your life and talk to somebody about their life it's really refreshing. And I don't know, it's almost like taking a shower. It's like cleaning yourself. It's like a cleanse almost, of just like a breath of fresh air.
I feel like that too, where you can just have a conversation and then get rid of it and then feel better, like, and go into the new day, like wake up the next morning and be like, okay,
feeling good.
It's a good new day. Like, we're going to start afresh, and like, new problems.
100%. Yeah. So just talking to people, and then also just like, finding interest, doing what you love to do. I mean, in your off time when you're not working in school or doing stuff for that, do what you like to do, whatever it is. I like to take photos, so, going out and taking photos is really fun. Cool. And even like playing video games, stuff like that, just little stuff to almost not to keep you distracted. But
what do you like to take photos of?
Everything, because I don't want to limit myself.
Okay.
So I try to work on everything: portrait photography, landscape. I don't know, what should I say? Product photography. I just love taking photos of everything. If I can find a cool shot of literally anything,
Yeah.
I'll try to do it. So.
When you guys do your podcasts, does that make you feel like mentally healthy? Like, does it take a lot of stress off you? Like, I realize it's probably stressful doing the podcast.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, how do you feel?
It's rewarding. It's definitely rewarding, and seeing seeing your work just displayed in front of you on a video is it's definitely rewarding. And a lot of people see it, and I've even people who I don't even know have come up to me and said, I've seen what you've done, and that's really cool, and that's an amazing feeling for me, because
Yeah.
I don't know this person, but yet they
But you're famous now.
yeah.
You're like, I did that. Like,
But,
wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's an amazing feeling. It's very rewarding, for sure.
How about you?
I would say it's really fun, especially like hearing about it like afterwards, like when we're done. And I would see like my family or something, they'll be like, oh yeah, like I saw you in the newspaper. And I'll be like, oh, like that's so fun, because like they see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And like we're not just like behind the scenes type of thing. I think that's really fun.
Yep.
Now, well, you were just talking about doing a podcast in Spanish because of the state of the stigma in minorities, and there is this idea of older generations that, as I say, that there's the idea that people who live with a mental illness are broken. What's you guys' thought on that? Is that because it has changed? We speak more about mental health and mental illness now than we did before. So, what's your opinion on mental illness and mental health?
I mean, I think it's kind of sad that people try to be like, oh, like they can't do anything because they have this mental illness, because like all you're doing is limiting that person. And like if you keep telling those things like to the people who have like, oh, like ADHD, like, oh, you can't do that because you can't focus on this, it's like you're just limiting on what they can do, and you're like not pushing them to like the best they can be. So I guess it kind of sucks.
I just want everyone to be happy. I just want everything to work out for everyone. I don't know. Could you reiterate the question a little bit?
I
just want to be able to answer it a little bit better.
I guess my question is, this generation, your generation, speaks more about mental health and more about mental illness, much more openly than other generations did, which makes me believe that acceptance of mental health and mental illness is higher, and it will be higher as you guys go into life. So, for you, what I don't know if you ever thought about your own mental health, but have you ever given it a thought? And what do you think that you need to do to keep yourself healthy?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I definitely do, and recently, like I've been thinking on it. It's just because I know a lot of my friends, and even like my girlfriend, like she's got her own therapist and stuff, and I feel like I almost feel like I kind of want to go into therapy just so I have like somebody to talk to feel like if I am, because like I don't know if I'm emotionally healthy. I've just been living with myself, and I'm just what I know.
Right.
So it's awesome that you guys are putting that knowledge out there, and you guys run classes. What is that? Not to, I know you were asking me a question.
That's okay. That's okay.
Like, what is like the curriculum for it, or what do you necessarily teach? I mean, I guess I have a broad idea of it, but
well.
We do
That's
offer,
what the challenge, what the talent can tell you.
I don't run the class. I do the presentation, so I just go in and give information. But we do, Courtney Kadoff is our program coordinator. Obviously, she's not here today, but on her behalf, I can tell you about some of the programs that we do offer. We offer peer-to-peer, which is an educational course. I believe it's a 8-week
8 weeks, they meet once a week.
Yep. And that is like a curriculum-based course, and that teaches you if you are living with a mental illness, it kind of teaches you about mental illness, different coping mechanisms, and how to deal with your mental illness, and how to find resources and things like that, which I think it's really helpful to know that, because it's not like you're handed a book, like, here, congratulations, you have a mental illness, here's how to handle it. No, nobody gives you a handbook. And then we also have a family-to-family course. Again, if you have a family member who has a mental illness, that's difficult too. Nobody gives you a handbook to tell you how to deal with that either. So we do offer those educational courses, and those do come with, it's a curriculum-based thing where you learn about coping skills and just information in general, how to get a diagnosis, how to get help, how to find a therapist, things you should look for, different things like that. So yeah, we do offer programs like that, and you can always find information, upcoming events, on our website.
Right, NAMI.org.
Yep.
And you will see a lot of, and we are trying to always add more, because the more you know, the better.
The more you
The
can help.
better. Yep.
100%.
Now let me go back to the question.
Yeah. My bad. I didn't wanna-
Great. Thank you for that, because it's
Yeah.
important that people do know, and it gives Sherry a chance to talk.
Yeah.
But now you said before that we are social beings, right? And that talking to people help us in our own mental health journey. Have you guys ever felt isolated or disconnected somehow? And how do you handle that if you do?
I mean, yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like once you're alone, like, there's nights where I'm alone in my room, and I just, I know I have friends, I know I have family that love me and stuff, but you can't help like escape the feeling of being like, feeling like almost like this disappointment, or feeling like there isn't really anybody there or something. I think the best thing is talking. Whenever I feel like that, I try to reach out to somebody. I try to reach out to one of my friends, or my brother, or my girlfriend, just because I don't want to stay in those thoughts of feeling like that and isolated. So, I try to I talk to whoever I can. So it's amazing that you guys give the opportunity to people who, might not have necessarily as many friends or family that's there for them or something like that. That you guys are there, no matter what the situation. So
We do what we can. How about you?
Oh, for me, I really struggle talking, especially like.
Well, that's great
I
for a
don't know.
podcast.
I mean, yeah, but like, cause I tend to be like a cry talker. So like, as soon as I talk about something, I burst into tears like immediately. And so like, normally I wouldn't reach out because I find it really hard. And like, if I start crying right away, that's a little embarrassing because you can't understand me.
Right.
Right? Because, like, I'm sobbing, and you're just like, what is she saying? Like,
Yeah.
Anyways. So, like, I would normally just, like, talk to myself a little bit. Because I do that all the time in my room.
Yeah.
Or, like,
Self-talk.
Yeah, self-talk.
It's a
and
coping skill.
and that would help me a lot because, I don't know, I feel like, especially since I'm used to, like, it stays within the family type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I can't share this with anybody else because, like, this is private.
Private business.
Private, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know. I just tend to keep it to myself.
And do you don't feel that even if you just crying, you just let that emotion out, you don't feel that helps you somehow?
Sometimes, but sometimes it's just like it was about nothing. But it just was like, I mean, it did make me feel better, but like it depends who it's with.
Yeah.
I guess.
I did hear a tip though one time that, because I'm kind of like that too. When I'm emotional and I start talking, then I just start crying. Someone told me if you start humming, then you can't cry, but then you look like a weirdo because you're just sitting there humming. I thought of it. I was like, okay, but I'd rather be crying.
You just look a little silly.
Yeah, I just look a little silly when you're sitting there humming, and people are like, why are you humming? So yeah, I don't know. Just a little bit of advice. Bad advice.
Well,
But yeah.
it could be good depending on the situation.
Right. When you feel like you're going to cry, hum instead. Okay.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I heard it and I was like, that's kind of weird advice.
It is kind of weird.
Now, the statistics say that it's about 1 in 4 students go through depression and some type of mental issues. Could be whatever. And I don't know if you have the experience with any of your friends or family members, and you don't have to tell me that. But if you ever see somebody who is disconnecting, who is maybe going through depression, maybe things are not going well in school, or million things, because you guys are teenagers. I mean, and this is the moment where all the emotions do happen. So what would you do? How would you approach that person? Or would you? I mean, again, connecting with the idea that we are social beings.
I'm trying to think. I feel like it's hard sometimes. I mean, if it's your friend compared to somebody, I guess, rather than a stranger, I guess I would say, just a random classmate. But I guess if I'm close to someone, just asking, like being like, man, like I'm here for you, and just letting them know, like constantly, like even in random situations, just even in class, like just doing homework together or something, and just be like, man, I love you, bro. Like you mean a lot to me. I just want you to know that. Just I don't know, sprinkling stuff here and there, letting them know that if there's ever a time where it's really reached a point where they're like, I really, really, really need to talk to somebody, and they can just think to the back of themselves, you know what? I mean, Sawyer, he always, he's always said that. He's always, so, maybe let me give him a call. Let's see, and, it's just, I feel like that's definitely what I like to do throughout my life, for the people I'm close with to know that I'm there.
That makes me tear up, Sawyer. That is.
She's going to start humming.
I know, right? No, that's exactly what you should do. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. We all need to do that. We all need to, if we care about somebody, we need to tell them that, because that's what's going to get them through those tough times, when they're thinking bad thoughts or like feeling low, like what you're saying, you're in your bedroom and you're feeling low. You're thinking, okay, but so-and-so loves me, so-and-so cares about me. They just told me that the other day in class. Bro, I love you. They're going to remember those silly little moments. So, yeah, that's perfect. That is perfect.
Yeah.
So in like middle school, I've had this friend who was struggling mentally. And so, I mean, I would just try to be there for her, because I've asked her before if she wanted to reach out for help, and like I would help her with that. But she said no. So I was like, okay, I'll respect your decision. Just like, so like I'm here for you. And like if anything like happens, just let me know. Because, what's it called? Because where she lives really close to the school we went to. And like my dad's house, like it's like 2 blocks away. So like whenever I'm there, I would like try to hang out with her just to make sure like she's okay. And like she's a lot better now. We're not that close anymore, because like this was in middle school, and like 4 or 5 years has passed, especially with COVID and everything. I always try to like keep in touch just in case, but she's doing a lot better now. Good. And I don't think I've had any other problems with my friends, but I always try to be there for everyone. So like, if you're going through something, like I'm here to listen at least, because I might not be able to like give the best advice, because like I'm the same age as you. Like, this is I have no idea, but like there's Google, and like there's help.
And sometimes all anybody needs is just somebody to listen.
Yeah.
Presence. That's very important.
Yeah.
Now, you were talking about, you just mentioned COVID.
Yeah.
You guys haven't had it easy. I have to handle to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't been easy. How was that period for you guys?
Stupid COVID.
For me, honestly, it was pretty fun. Because I was at home, I was playing games. I got a lot closer to my friends in middle school because of COVID. Because before, like, I had no reason to message them outside of school, because I would see them the next day. And, like, my school was really small. So, like, every class, we had it together, because there's only 13 of us. And so I didn't really have the need to message them. but like because of COVID, it's like, oh, we talked a lot more, we got a lot closer, and like we're still friends now, even though we go to different schools.
So you didn't feel the isolation, you didn't feel the sadness of not being able to see people?
I guess a little bit, but since like my family's so big, right, and I see them all the time,
Right.
So it's like even during COVID, like, oh, there were some tough times where like, oh, we had to go to a funeral like through Zoom. That was really weird.
Yeah.
But we were all there, right? It was never like, oh, I miss this person because I don't see them anymore. I still see them. It's just like not in person anymore.
Yeah. I mean, obviously having the connection, keeping the connection saves a lot of sadness and issues. How about you? What was your experience? If you tell me that you had fun too, I'm going to start thinking that COVID was more fun than I thought.
I mean, there's definitely some highs and lows to it. I mean, at the time, it was just before freshman year. So like, I don't know, maybe this mid 8th grade year or something. So, I mean, at the start of it, being off, having those days, those weeks off, it felt refreshing, and it felt nice. But the more it went on, the more serious it got, obviously. And not being able to see my family members like that definitely did a toll on me. And yeah, it definitely did get a little tougher around COVID. But I don't think it was anything too tough for me personally. I know for a lot of other people, it definitely can be.
I mean, the numbers on mental health issues went way up after COVID because of that, because of the isolation. So I'm glad that you guys had the connections, the necessary connections, because you can see how important they are. We're gonna say something? No, no, okay. Don't look at me that way.
Just looking at your handsome
Okay.
face.
Now, people your age are going to be listening to this, and maybe they never thought about mental health, or maybe they have mental health concerns, and we're adults. We are adults. We have certain experience. Well, not really, but.
Okay.
We don't behave like such.
No.
But it's not always easy to listen to an adult when he's trying to tell you something that you are feeling. So what would you say to those young people about, their own journey on mental health? And I don't know, what would you recommend that they do to take care of themselves?
I feel like if someone's struggling, reach out. Reach out. I definitely it's definitely very tough. It's very hard sometimes, and being in that pit, it's definitely hard to reach out. You don't think anybody cares. You don't think anything really matters, that it really means anything. But most definitely reaching out, it's a great first step. And you can just build from it. It's definitely tough, and it definitely in that curve of the age range.
Right.
Obviously, being so young and having to talk to an adult with all these issues and everything, and having them tell you. But I definitely think it's just good to reach out. It's good to talk to those people. And I mean, if it doesn't work out the first time, there's different people. You know what I mean? There's different therapists where maybe this one didn't work with you, but you met somebody else and it clicked. So.
Definitely.
I think just trying to reaching out is probably the best thing you can do, because just keeping yourself in like that pit and just bellowing it, I guess, I don't know. It's just not good. It just stacks on top of each other, and it just gets too much for people. So if you're feeling that way, reach out. And it's amazing that you guys are an organization like that you give the opportunity. Like I said, even if people who necessarily don't have those people around them, that you guys are there. So that's amazing.
We try.
Oh, for me, since like reaching out is kind of hard, I would say like something as small as like a voice memo is like an easy like step forward to be like, oh, like this is how I feel. You can always listen back to it as well. Be like, oh, this is what I said. Like, how do I fix that? Or like, oh, like. I know, but when I do it, I feel like, man, that's kind of cringe. So I stop being sad. But it's like, I don't know. There's also like online forums, like anonymous forums. Like, oh, if you really feel like you have to share this out, and like you don't have someone necessarily to talk to, like you don't have a close friend, you feel like, oh, like I could tell them this. Like you can probably do it anonymously online, because I know there's a bunch of sites you can do that on, whether it be like Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever. You can probably reach out through there as well, because you can also have an online community. It doesn't have to be like in person if you don't want to.
In fact, there is a number 988, and that is for it helps you when you're having emotional issues, and it's also a suicide prevention line, and they are nationwide. And you can also text them, so you don't have or chat online, and they. They try to talk to you about how you're feeling and trying to, get you out of those thoughts. So it's a lot, and it's anonymous. So reaching out becomes more easier there.
I'd say another thing, maybe with more of like a confidence issue. I know for me personally, I suffered with a confidence issue younger. But just, I don't know, like positive affirmations, like something like that. So small, of just telling yourself every day, like you're like you mean something. You have you have a purpose. You're very important. And it might sound dumb, like you said, it might almost be cringy to tell yourself that, to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm
right. It kind of feels silly.
Yeah, a little silly,
but it's not.
The brain is so powerful, and people really don't understand that. And just those everyday building, because it's not going to happen right away. You're not going to tell yourself the first time, this and necessarily believe it right away.
Right.
But the more and more it builds, the more you do start to believe it, and it does get better. So
absolutely, that's a great idea.
Just small stuff like that too, even.
Yeah, I used to put Post-it notes with affirmations up on my mirror when I was struggling with my mental health, because then every time I brushed my teeth or brushed my hair or whatever, I would see those and read them, and finally, because you hear so many negative things throughout the day that really it's really hard to believe those positive things. But positive affirmations, absolutely.
Most definitely.
That's
good idea.
Great ideas. So, I mean, perhaps the message is to be open to the emotions that you are feeling, because you can avoid them, but don't get stuck on them.
Yeah, one thing I accept it. I mean, you're human, so we all feel. Don't try to feel like an outsider for being sad about something.
Right.
Or anything, any emotion. Like
it's a normal emotion. They're all emotions. There are no good or bad emotions. They just are.
That's what. Yeah,
it's
human.
just how you deal with them.
So
That's positive or negative, and positive is reaching out. Positive is getting help. Positive is, doing those affirmations or talking to a friend or realizing that you aren't alone. That's that's what our hashtag. You are not alone, because you never are. Like, all you have to do is text someone, or, even if you do listen to your own voice, you're not alone.
It is true. And knowing that you're not alone is one of the most important steps on your own mental health. Knowing that there is some, like you say, being present, even if you don't say anything, but, letting that person know that you're there for them. Reach out on the phone, but knowing that you're not alone is very, very important. I love the conversation, and I think I really appreciate what you guys are doing and your podcast, which we can find in.
I mean, you can find us on our YouTube, Racine Video Production. I think that's where it'll be posted. We're trying to get on all platforms, the audio. We're gonna work with that with you, Jason, right? Yeah. Getting the audio side set up with you guys, where you guys got it all on 7 platforms. But for the video one, you can find us on YouTube at Racine Video Production.
And again, I think. And you guys have a whole team. We are just
it's
me.
Just Carlos at our place.
And it is incredible what you guys do.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever need assistance, I mean, we're volunteers as well. So
Wow,
and
Carlos.
so,
I'll take names after we've.
I know, right?
But really, no, and congratulations on.
It's
on
you
what
can look
guys
into
are
that
doing.
camera
I can do
and
it.
tell them.
I'll take names. Because it is incredible for me to see a group of teenagers doing so many amazing things and reaching out to other people. Believe me that what you do is people notice, as you say. Now you're famous, but and listening to you guys, it really gives me hope on what's coming next.
On our future,
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I do believe that the idea behind having compassionate conversations is precisely that we can reach out to other people and let them know that they're not alone, and you guys are doing that.
100%. Well, thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
It was
Thanks for
amazing.
having us.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Peace
Thank
out,
you.
RVP Nation. That was amazing, guys. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
It's so
Thank
funny.
you. Thank you.
It's a wrap.
It's a raptor tortilla.
I think we exceeded 15 minutes. No, we were all.
We were right on.
We were at almost.